Fargo School Board to order. Thank you so much for coming. We have a highly esteemed group in our midst tonight. Very impressive. I would entertain a motion to approve the order of agenda with the HR addendum.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. All opposed, same. Thank you. Motion carries. No one has signed up to speak from the audience, so we will move into staff reports. We do not have an FEA rep with us tonight, so we'll move into our community outreach and communication segment, the presentation by the Teacher Leadership Academy, and Dr. Schatz, if you want to start us
Sure,
off.
thank you. Well, tonight is a culmination of a 2-year effort by a group of people, many different people. As you know, a couple of years ago, we came to the board, and as we looked at our strategic plan, we looked at what are those things we can do to reach out and develop the capacity of leaders within our district. That's been an initiative that's always been interesting to me and something that I've always supported as either as a principal or as a superintendent. And so I'm really proud tonight to sit here and tell you that we've got a great group of teachers who are all going to graduate here in May with their master's degree in leadership from the program at NDSU that both Ann Clapper and Dr. Tom Hall, Dr. Ann Clapper, have brought to us and came to us with a concept a few years ago. What if we developed a leadership program where we went out and we didn't prepare teachers just to be administrators, but to be leaders and truly have that interactive within the structure and the social fabric of the school district and take it from that angle. And so what you saw upstairs tonight, if you had the chance to go up and visit with the students and with the projects that they did, was authentic research done specifically through their experiences in learning about our district. And so you couldn't ask for a better model, and it's fabulous. Leading that model along with our 2 professors from NDSU were Rachel and Bob. The number of hours that they had to spend at these lessons and these classes and all the things that went on with this were many, and it was quite a commitment by them too. So I'm just extremely proud tonight to, I'll introduce, I'll have Bob take it from here, but to have these folks here and to know that I remember meeting with this group when we first started, and I said it'll be a fast 2 years, and at times it won't feel that way, but when it's done, the capacity that you will have developed will serve you for the rest of your career. So it's good stuff. So Bob.
Thank you. Like Dr. Schatz said, we're here really to celebrate the culmination of 5 semesters of work in which every other Thursday from 5 to 9 we had the opportunity to work with this great group of people who are in front of you. I think what it did is it provided us a wonderful opportunity to partner with North Dakota State University and the Fargo Public Schools as we look at truly taking our strategic plan and putting it into action of how we collaborate and communicate together. The 5 semesters that we've had were a great opportunity for us to truly take the coursework that is in a traditional master's program, but really put a Fargo Public Schools spin to it. So when we were talking about policy and law, we were talking about Fargo Public School policy and law. When we were talking about curriculum and development, we certainly were bringing that back to the Fargo Public Schools. So it's been a wonderful opportunity for Rachel and myself as we've been able to learn, I think, almost as much as the people who are sitting in the back of the room. And none of that would have been possible without Dr. Agree's work and also Dr. Tom Hall and Dr. Ann Clapper. And with that, I'd like to call the 2 of them to the podium, and they have just a few words to share with you tonight.
Oh, now it's on. Okay. Sorry about that. First of all, I guess I want to thank the Board of Education for all of the support that you gave the Academy and us for the last 5 semesters, so about 20 months. It wasn't quite 2 years, although who's counting? These folks, of course, will be counting. They're counting the days now, the minutes to the end of the day. So thank you for your support. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity we had to work with 17 great teachers in your district and 2 excellent administrators. So, and then thank you tonight for being here tonight and for congratulating this group of teachers for basically they're your future. These are the leaders. This has been a great program for us at NDSU, great opportunity for us to basically wrap our master's curriculum right around your strategic plan and initiatives. And
I'll second pretty much everything that Dr. Hall has mentioned, but I also want to point out that in addition to the classes that we led together, there were no shortage of planning meetings in between time, because as Bob pointed out, making and customizing this to a district is really important. And so making sure that the assignments that we are expecting are applicable and relevant to the work of the teachers that are in this district, that's a huge commitment on our part. And the other thing I wanted to mention is that your willingness, Fargo District's willingness to embrace this model and work with us to allow us to learn more as a university, because every academy is a little bit different, but we're trying to standardize the model for the state. And right now we have many other schools in the state who are looking to this academy and planning to start an academy. So thank you very much to the Fargo District for being a leader in innovation for teacher leadership in the state of North Dakota.
And then I think it's due that we maybe give this group of students a round of applause. Because I think not only have they earned or will have earned their master's degree, we now have 17 people who are fantastic advocates for the Fargo Public Schools as they have learned and grown together, and I'm sure will speak very highly of what we do as a system. So thank you very much for all that you've done.
I have a question. First of all, congratulations to everyone, just really inspiring. I'm fascinated by we're kind of this pioneering model of a school district working with a teaching university and kind of personalizing the curriculum to the district, and this possibly being a statewide model. Has there been any kind of publicity, such a shoddy word, but I like it. You know, it's such a wonderful piece of good news about the good work that these two institutions are doing. Is there any plan to kind of make this known to the public somehow? Or maybe there was and I wasn't aware of it.
Well, to speak to this, is that we aren't the first cohort. West Fargo actually was the first cohort, and then there's also been a cohort in Oaks, and I think they're looking now to Valley City. Northern Cass has been involved, you know, and had mentioned Mandan has shown interest. I mean, there's more districts that are involved here. What I told Dr. Ann and Dr. Tom was that just look at the capacity you're building across the state of leaders and leadership within the educational system. I mean, this is a model that is very impressive, and for them to, you know, it came as a concept, and they came to us, they came to David Flowers, myself, and others and said, what do you think? Well, look at the outcome. And so this is what happens when you can build a hybrid program that is specific to the state, the school districts involved, and then the outcome that you see here. So from as far as publicity, those kinds of things, you guys would have to talk to that at NDSU as to what you've been doing with that or how you've been promoting. Is there any comments on that?
We've had some coverage on the academy, but probably the biggest impact that we're going to have in promoting this model is that we have decided to convene and start a summer conference for our teacher leader academies. And well, hopefully our Fargo teachers will join us as part of the audience. But what we want to do is, as Jeff pointed out, is to create a model that is statewide, that this is going to impact a lot of, not just the districts that are involved once they're over. We want to continue to connect these teachers with other teachers, because we've had conversations now between two different districts talking about their action research. When you have teachers from Oaks talking to Fargo about, well, what are you working on? how did that work in your classroom? So we're trying to use the summer conference in June to bring as many of these academies together to be able to start sharing and learning from each other from across the state. So we're hoping that we'll have a little bit of publicity at that point. But again, as Jeff pointed out, we're looking at statewide. Sometimes the demand is a little bit beyond our capacity to deliver it, so which is a kind of good problem to have. But we're happy with the interest in the model, and we're, I think, consistent with NDSU's mission as a land-grant mission, which is to serve the citizens of our state. And that's what we're trying to do, to expand the model.
That's excellent. Yes, Dr. Augury.
And I would just add that within the 18 months, 20 months, we have done 2 internal releases about the Teacher Leadership Academy through Journey, and those have also been pushed out through School Talk. And Lisa Farnham was tonight taking pictures, so we intend to, again, highlight these great candidates and the projects they've done, and it has created a lot of interest. Dr. Gross and I both get emails, will there be a cohort 2? So.
Nice. Anybody have any questions? David?
I congratulate you all, and I wonder if it wouldn't be appropriate to have them introduce themselves and tell us what your current assignment is.
Sure.
All right, I'm Sarah George.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And yeah, one more. I just. Anyone else have any questions or comments for our guests? Well, thank you so much for taking the time to share all that good work with us and for having handouts for us to take home and learn more. And it was fascinating. Thank you so very much. And thank you as well. Appreciate it. Brock, you get to follow that.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. With riveting 2.5-hour presentation on every bill at the legislative session. So, Madam President, members of the board, we're in the waning moments of the legislative session. Talked to a couple of my counterparts today, and you never know what could happen late, but we believe for all intent and purposes as it as it relates to K-12, that all the heavy lifting is done on those bills. But again, strange things can happen in conference committees to bills that would otherwise not pertain to education that somehow end up pertaining to education. But yesterday, I'm actually looking up yesterday, the two most important bills we've been watching recently, 1361, which is the 3% property tax bill. I reported before that the Senate really split the question. They removed all of the reference to a 3% increase. That portion of the bill failed the Senate originally. They retained reporting to the tax commissioner, jointly reporting for all of the taxing entities. That portion passed. The House, who had the primary authors, said, no way, that's not the bill that we originally wrote. And so that went to conference committee. They, in essence, put back in all of the 3% restrictions. Came out of conference committee, passed the House, and failed the Senate 0-46. So that bill is dead and will not come back. So that, for this session, will not be revisited at this point. And then the other one, of course, was our funding bill, and 1013 was the money behind 1324, which was the foundation aid formula, and that passed mostly as originally presented. They did make some adjustments in appropriations, actually in Senate Ed on the effects to transportation. Also, there were some dollars put back into certain areas in the formula, and that did pass as well. So right now we're waiting for the finance folks at DPI to now take that bill and spread the impacts of it to all the districts and get that information out. We did receive some information from them today, but we're verifying, where they pulled all the data, making sure all of the enrollment and ADM things are accurate. We only got the first year. Typically, we get the impact of the bill on both years, and so we're waiting to get some of that. But for the most part, I think that K-12 education is completed with the session. I think we came out as well as we could have expected to come out, given the nature of what's going on in the state. But we'll have a more formal wrap-up of all the bills probably within the next, certainly by our next board meeting, because I suspect they could wrap up today. I think today is the 75th day, so they need to be done by a week from today. But no indications they'll be done early, although as I watched this afternoon, they weren't doing much on the floor. So a lot of that work's being done in committee. So with that, I'll take any questions if there are any. Otherwise, we'll prepare a detailed action report on all the bills we were tracking and get that out to you as soon as they wrap up.
Thank you, Brock. Any questions? Terrific, thank you. Brings us to the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion.
I move that we pass the consent agenda with the HR addendum.
I second.
There's a motion and a second to pass the items on the consent agenda. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same. Thank you. There being no formal business before the board, we move on to board reports. And John, why don't you start us tonight?
I have completed my liaison visits to Woodrow Wilson and McKinley and Longfellow, and we'll be reporting on that for next week they're due. Good reminder, thank you. That was it.
Thank you. Jennifer?
Are we going for a record time here? Great. So I will be completing mine by the end of this week, maybe even Monday. And then I just really had a couple of comments that I wanted to, first of all, say thank you to Dr. Schatz for providing the answer to my EL 14 question in the board focus. And I wanted to make a few comments around the responses that we received because I appreciate the door being opened in terms of having an open mind to look at some of the things that we possibly could take off of a teacher's plate. And I wanted, for those of you who aren't familiar or don't remember my question, it was about vision and dental and pictures and things that aren't related to education and time for learning for the student. What could we do to impact or to remove some of those barriers and allow teachers more time? Now, this wasn't an idea that I had. It was from a teacher. And I support it, so I brought it to Dr. Schatz and asked the question and then put it on the EL. And my follow-up is really, as I was reading it, I was thinking of our presenter, Jamie Vollmer. Do you remember him? The gentleman with the Schools Can't Do It Alone. He was the author of the Schools Can't Do It Alone, and he had the long list of things that have been added since the early 1900s to the day that are required now and inserted into the school day, but yet not 1 minute have we added to the time of a day. So I feel like as a board, it is important that we are constantly considering what can we take off these teachers' plates in order to give them more time back in their classroom. These are things, these are just 3 things, maybe there are others, that aren't state mandated, that aren't federally mandated. There are things that we can have a conversation about, and he mentioned, I think all of the professional development we do and all of the you know, motivational speakers or those that come with, you know, best practice ideas. I hope that we do take the opportunity to embrace some of those best practices moving forward and have the open mind and do what we can do to consider, is there a better or a different way? Because if we're not doing it, then why are we doing professional development? If we're not willing to listen to some of the ideas that those that have the knowledge to, you know, and are willing to share with us, then how can we expect our teachers to be motivated by them or to approach things differently? I hope that moving forward, we're willing to do that. I understand logistically that some of these things might be a challenge and that some of them are rooted in tradition, but to me, there's a solution. Where there's a will, there's a way. And, you know, if back to school night is a challenge, like mentioned in here, 30% of our kiddos don't come to back to school night, 70% do. And we don't know the reason why the other 30% don't. Perhaps it is a value question, right? Maybe they don't see or don't have a value. This would add that value to them to come. We don't know because we haven't asked. But 70% of the kids do. And so there's a lot that could be accomplished that night. And maybe it could be through volunteers, much like it is today. I just don't want this conversation to end in terms of, again, the goal being more learning opportunities for the kids. So I feel like I need to keep the conversation alive. And that's why I felt it necessary to make a few comments. But again, I appreciate that the answers were given, and that's it.
Thank you. Rebecca.
All right. Let's see. So I have a couple of meetings coming up that are in relation to the Native American Commission. And one is, well, I serve on the Wellness Committee, Health and Wellness Committee for that commission, and we have a meeting coming up Saturday at the Native American Center that I'll be attending. And I have a meeting tomorrow at the Fargo Library. The library is working on putting together, and I think it's going to be I think it will be coming up in November, like a Native American Awareness Week, I guess is what I'm calling it. And there are a lot of details that need to come out on that still, but basically all of the commissioners are invited to attend these planning meetings, but I've been showing up. And so I'm trying to take the information at this meeting that the library is working on and bringing it back to the commission, just kind of as a checkpoint to see, to feel if the commission can kind of give an A-OK that they're, you know, on track with their planning and their ideas. So, and I think that'll be interesting as we have, as we go forward with Indigenous Peoples Day and see how just there's kind of a constant stream of learning in regard to Native American education. And then also tomorrow I'm going to North High to serve with them on their, or sit on their counseling advisory committee. And I was at that meeting earlier in the year and then been invited back. I think I mentioned at the last board meeting, invited back to sit on that again. And so that is tomorrow, and I'll have the information turned in for my liaison visits as needed. And GAC, we canceled the April meeting I don't know what we're going to, Brock, I know we talked about a little bit about that this morning at governance, but what we're going to need to do there.
Yeah, I think that the plan would be to have a meeting once we get the summary report. I know NDCEL has a PowerPoint that they'll have as a summary too, so I think we'll meld those, present that to GAC, and then GAC can present it at the board meeting that follows. So we'll schedule that as soon as we have that data with the wrap-up.
All right, that's it, thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Jim?
Thanks. SEEC had a, I guess, exec committee meeting, and we kind of laid out the plan for what we're going to use for an evaluation process for the exec director. Planning met this morning. You'll be seeing that work later this afternoon or evening, I guess. Planning will be meeting next on May 4th. That is a Thursday, which is a change from our normal Friday morning. But it'll be at 7:30, May 4th, right here. I did have the opportunity last week to kind of take a self-guided tour of the new operations center, which they think they have locked down for outsiders to get in, but where there's a will, there's always a way. And for those of you that may not have been out there yet, it is just going to be one heck of an improvement in efficiencies, I'm pretty sure. The first thing I noticed, I just have to share this because I looked at it and I smiled and I said, designing from ground up pays. In the big open area for the heavy duty machinery and trucks, all of the snow blades for all of the vehicles that have them in the winter to clear out all of our parking lots are about 25 feet in the air on a steel rack. So they take up no floor space, they're not outside getting rusted. Could never have been done if we hadn't designed from ground up. And I'm sure whoever works at the central kitchen is going to think like manna from heaven showed up when they actually get to start utilizing that facility. So hats off to the design team and to Brock and Jim and all the work they did. I think it's going to be a huge efficiency improvement for the district. And the last thing I have to share is, to the best of my knowledge, nobody on this board has turned in one item for the picnic yet, which is rapidly approaching. So if you would take the time to contact people you know in our community, see if they donate a prize or two, a gift card. Anne Marie will be happy to store them till the picnic, but it will be here before you know it.
You know, I'm missing the sense of urgency that this is the end of summer when it is snowing outside, but I appreciate your enthusiasm. Dr. Schatz, did you have a comment about the
Just a quick
operations?
comment, the Operations Center, we're going to have a delayed open house ribbon cutting. That'll be in July. We're going to wait until the food service has moved in and everything else. So that's why we haven't come to you with a tour or an open house or a ribbon cutting or anything like that. And so the mayor and I are going to say a few words. We'll put together a little program, but you'll get all that information from Anne Marie. So just know that we will do that. It's coming. If somebody wants a tour or whatever, just let us know. We can have Jim meet up with you and do that.
Yeah, that whole self-guided thing, you kind of.
Jim will give him a self-guided tour, so it's perfect. Good job.
Yeah. Dinah?
Okay, so since the last board meeting, I've been to the Lincoln Art Night. That's my liaison school, and I have to say that for those of you who are artistically talented, I am so artistically challenged. I go to these things all the time, and I think, how can kindergartners do this? And I can't come anywhere near it, but I had loads of fun walking around the school and doing that. Also attended the foundation, FPS Foundation breakfast, and the Board of Health meeting. It was a pretty light thing at the Board of Health, but as I once reported before, for those of you who've been waiting for the rules for your chicken keeping to come into place, they are now laws that you can research and have your coops and so on. No roosters, though, if you want to have a rooster to wake you up. And also, we got copies of this recent refugee report that was commissioned. I think I'm short one for people, but if you'd like a copy, if you haven't seen it and you want to read it, I know it's really nice to get a hard copy. I'm sorry I don't have for the board members, and
I did attend that as well, so I don't
Oh,
need a copy.
okay,
thank
so
you.
then John will be happy not to take one, but we were handed these at the Board of Health, so that's all I have.
Thank you, Dinah. David?
I completed my visits to Bennett and Davies. I've got Eagle set up for Monday. Bennett was kind of interesting because I happened to be down there when Jim Free was there, trying to figure out where they're going to put 100 more lockers because they've run out of lockers. And had an interesting time in that discussion. We have negotiations with the teachers next Wednesday, and I'm assuming we're going to have to set up a committee meeting prior to that. I think that's all I've got.
Great, thank you. Christy?
I attended the FBS Foundation Alumni Breakfast, and my visits will be completed prior to Thursday.
I hear you. Brandy?
I also attended the breakfast, and then my liaison visits as well will be completed Monday with South. That's all I have.
Great, thank you. I attended the Fargo Community Development meeting last week, and they're continuing their efforts. They're doing a real in-depth study on particularly the Roosevelt neighborhood in terms of the housing pressures from NDSU and rental conversions and so forth. And they're taking a very in-depth look at that neighborhood and the rest of the core neighborhoods, and that's going to be an ongoing study, both with that committee and with the Planning Commission. Just so you know, the Learning Bank, the group that provides arts experiences for every elementary grade, thanks to our contribution, the contribution of West Fargo and Moorhead. All of our fourth graders got to hear a symphony orchestra last week. That was great. And then governance was this morning, and that was a pretty brief meeting, just setting the agendas. And my liaison visits will be completed next week as well. Do we have a need to go into executive session this
President
evening?
Boyd, I want to remind you to hand out your written report as well.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you. Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session.
Well, are you going to call on
Oh,
me?
Jim, I guess I gave, sorry.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we move into executive session for the purpose of negotiation strategies as permitted under North Dakota Century Code 44-04-19.1.
Second.
Thank you. There's been a motion and a second to adjourn to executive session. Anne Marie, please call the roll.
Rodenbacher,
Yes.
Ulrich,
Yes.
Ani,
Yes.
Benson,
Yes.
Goldenberg,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Knutson,
Yes.
Paulson,
Yes.
Boyd.
Yes, we are adjourned. Thank you.
forgot to mention during my report was, and John mentioned this also, that he and I were both at the Human Relations Commission meeting where the refugee resettlement information was presented on April 13th. And I just wanted to thank Dr. Schatz for his participation in that effort and for being a resource to that commission for gathering information and for taking the time to be at that meeting. Thank you very much. Very valuable to have the district represented.
Excellent. Thank you, Rebecca, and thank you, John, also for attending that. If there's no other business before the board, we will adjourn, and our next meeting will be May 9th. Thank you very much.